Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast, the show that delves into the reasons we love to choose, wrap and share gifts with each other. Hi, I'm your host Eve Kale, founder of Gift Wrapped by Eve, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving while also considering the planet. Each episode I'll be sharing ideas or interviewing guests who will help inspire your choice of gifts and how you present them. Whether that's for your own gifts or products you create or sell in your small business, will help you consider how to make small changes that can help your gifting be a little greener. Hello, Lizzie, and welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. It's great to have you with us, and I'm really excited to have you as a guest. So perhaps you could start by introducing yourself to the listeners, explain who you are, what you do, and yeah, let's go from there.
Oh, this is fabulous. I've been so excited about meeting you on this podcast for weeks now. So yes, I am Lizzie George and I am an ambassador with Clean Living. And I am on my sustainable journey. So 5 years ago, we sold our 6-bedroom house. Our 6 children had all left home, and we started this journey into living as sustainably as we can. We ditched our car. That was a big shock for me. You know, I learned to drive when I was 17. Had a car since then, and real shock. Oh, you want to go carless? You know, it's like run naked through the streets. Oh, possibly not quite that bad. But you know, these quite big changes, and I just learned to adapt. You know, I'd got a bus pass, I got a tricycle, and we just learned to live in a different way. And then we came to the Somerset in the Quantux. And there was just so many hills like this, not quite as bad as the peak, you know, Scotland or anything, but on a bike, I was finding it challenging. So then we got an electric van. So we just made the best choices that we could, living in the environment that we're living in at the minute. Yeah. And it's all about those simple swaps, I think.
Yeah. Well, simple swaps. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to get into it really, because what triggered your decision to make these changes? Because some of the changes you've made, I think, along the way are probably sort of small and have added up, but
Yeah.
some of them are pretty huge. So
Yeah.
tell me a bit more about how this sort of came about.
It all started watching David Attenborough and Blue Planet, and then he was sharing, you know, we were all recycling and doing what we thought was the best thing, and then he was actually sharing what our recycling was doing, where it was going, or where it wasn't going where we thought it was going, and it was actually getting into our oceans and polluting our oceans, affecting the wildlife, the aquatic life. And that's what just made me think, oh, I didn't know that was happening. I was recycling as best as I could, didn't know it wasn't being dealt with, didn't know we were sending it to different countries. And it just made me become more aware, more conscious. And I thought, no, I've got to do something about this.
Okay.
So it started with single-use plastic, started with the plastic bottles under the sink. How can I reduce those? How can I ditch those? What can I swap them? What alternatives could I do? And then that just kind of rippled out into other areas of my life. So the food I was eating, the how I was traveling, what I was doing inside my home with electronics, and actually digital waste as well. And so that just kind of rippled out. And you know, I read this book about this lady who went to Mauritius, I think it was, some far, or Bali, and she said all the plastic was in the ocean. So she came home and she went zero waste overnight. And I thought, whoa, that's too hard. I just felt like if I would find that so hard, I wouldn't even start, because I wouldn't know where to start. So it just came right, pick one thing, get that sorted, get that into a habit, pick the next thing, and then that just rippled out and made it doable. and
Yeah.
something I could manage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So gosh, so it's been quite over quite a few years. Did you say 5 years? You've made lots of small
Well,
changes,
yeah,
which have
longer than
all,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
longer
longer
than
than
that,
that now.
because
Yeah.
Blue Planet came out years ago. So we've been living in the motorhome for 5 years
Oh, I
now.
see. That's the 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah. So longer
yeah,
than that. Yeah. Yeah. So it has been a bit of a journey. And I think, I talk often about on this podcast, obviously we're focused on the greener gifting, but even just in that small aspect of your life, you can't necessarily make all those changes at once. As humans, we just can't get our heads around making those changes all at once. I mean, there are the rare few who do, as you heard that woman just immediately overnight, but most of us
yeah,
can't do that because we've got family life to consider or work life and just how we move things
yeah,
on in a way that
yeah,
is sustainable in terms of our own lives, as
yeah.
in keeping up the habits. So you said you started with your plastic bottles, is that right? Is that the
Yes.
way you came across the what you're doing at the moment, clean living?
Live. I was with another company, so I was with an American company,
Yeah,
um, and they were just brilliant, but they had very concentrated cleaning products. So you still had the plastic bottle, even though it lasted so much longer, you still had it. And then they'd say, recycle it. And I kind of thought, right, well, David Attenborough has told me
yeah,
we're not recycling our way out of this. So I was already looking for another cleaning company, and I came across one that did probiotic cleaning, um, but it was in refill sachets. So instead of buying something from the supermarket that came already diluted, you dilute at home, and so you've got much reduced packaging then.
yeah,
Um, and then the bottles were aluminium, and so that just got me to change again, and just to make that change a next level change.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
yeah, and it's just grown from there.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm a fan of clean living products myself. I do use them, and because it's plastic free July, I've been doing trying to make some swaps or being conscious about what
Yes.
swaps I have made. And it must whatever day it was that it was the prompt about cleaning products. I took a photo of my bottle and then I realized just how long I'd had it. It's got a few dents in it now, actually. Because it's been around the house. But it must have been around about 4 years now, I think, quite a few
Right.
years. And actually, it was quite good to reflect on the fact that I made that change however many years ago,
Yeah.
and how many plastic bottles I have saved myself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hadn't really given it much thought after I made the switch. I thought, well, I'll do this now, fine.
Yeah.
Just kind of incorporates it into your life. You just get on with it. But hadn't really reflected on actually how long I'd had the
Yeah.
bottle and how much plastic I've saved.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we might think, well, what's the point in making the change?
Yeah.
It's just me, it's just me, it's just one plastic bottle.
Mm.
But I think movements like Plastic Free July have made me realize just how much of an impact
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
small changes can have.
I
So,
think so too. You
yeah,
know, if you think, right, you're one person, but over a year, how many plastic bottles haven't you bought because you're refilling? And then you think, well, it's not just me. My friends are doing it. Other people I know, and it's rippled out
yeah,
to the 1 million women doing stuff impact.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
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 yeah.
it's
But it just
amazing.
starts with the one. It
Yeah.
starts with the one, and that's the important thing.
What would you say to somebody who is wanting to make a change? Maybe they've seen something like Blue Planet, or they've seen a video on Instagram, or they've watched something, or they've listened to this podcast and they've been inspired by listening to your story, Lizzie. Why would you say that they should where should they start? Because it can feel really overwhelming, can't it?
It really, really can. And I can say, oh, I started under the stink with my cleaning products, but we don't know where that person what their starting point is. They might already have made some changes. Like I was speaking to a lady this morning and she said, well, I already use bars of soap and refillable. So me saying to her, oh, start under the sink.
Yeah.
It isn't my using my experience to suggest something to her wasn't going to work.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's start where you are. So look at your home, look at your lifestyle, start where you are, do a plastic inventory if that's where you're starting on. Open your cupboards, look in the bathroom, look in under the sink, look at your cleaning products, look at your personal care products, and think about, well, what's your priority? If single-use plastic is your priority,
Yeah.
um, I think that's a brilliant place to start, but start where you are because somebody might have already got that sorted.
Mm.
We don't know. So it's your life, your starting point, and then just make one swap and just carry on going.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point actually, because when you try and sort of put something on other people and say, right, this is what you need to do, I think then
Yeah,
actually that often isn't it isn't motivating enough. You've got to be in
no.
the right place to make those swaps. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's what's most important.
Mm.
And somebody can't tell you what's most important
Yeah.
because they don't know your life quite like you do. Because
Yeah.
I could say, oh, give up your car. And, that might not fit in your lifestyle, where you live. Um, so it's not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable in the long run. So
Yeah.
yeah, look at your priorities
Yeah.
and think about one swap that you could make, and then just reach out to, I've got my group Love Our Planet with Lizzie. There's going to be advice somewhere,
Yeah.
and reach out to somebody and see what suggestions they've got and that fit and resonate with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's really true, actually. It's about finding your place in this world of sustainability, because there are people with different views and different ways that people are doing things. And, even as somebody who likes to be eco-conscious myself, sometimes I think I see things on Instagram or whatever, and I think, okay, that's too much for me. My brain can't deal with that. I know I need to do something, but seeing all of this and that kind of sometimes the eco guilt, I don't know if that's the right word. I'm like,
I think it
it
is a thing. Yeah.
but in some ways, if you think too big, you can't, it's just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
finding something that it feels it feels right for you, and it's going to be helpful to help and be supportive. Like your group, for example, it's a really supportive place where people are sharing what they're doing and
Yeah.
celebrating the small things that they have changed, rather than thinking about all the things that you haven't done yet and feeling guilty that you're still driving your car because practically you need your car. It's yeah, celebrating what you have done and what you
Absolutely.
are doing.
Because part of this book that this lady had written, she came home and she was growing her own food and baking her own bread and making so many of her personal care and cleaning products. And well, if we waited for me to grow our food, we'd be hungry. So we've now got a herb garden, which is doable for us. And then the next level is looking at, the salads and what we can do instead of what we can't do.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's the
absolutely.
best celebration. Yeah.
So what the way that you're living at the moment, is the right word nomadic? How would you describe it?
It could be nomadic, but we have a nomadic vehicle that we could be
Yeah.
nomadic,
Okay.
but a nomadic home,
Yeah.
but that's not sustainable really because of the carbon emissions of moving it. So we don't move it very often. So we're living on the campsite now. We're living and working on a campsite. So we live quite outdoors. We you know we cook outdoors. We mostly live outdoors if the weather if the weather's great. Um, so I think that we're living a nomadic lifestyle in the living outdoorsy bit,
Yeah,
stationary at the minute.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Only because the carbon emissions of moving our home is just, yeah, that's not great.
Okay, okay. So, so this obviously this podcast we're talking about being greener with gifting. So I'm really
Yeah.
intrigued to know because obviously you've talked a lot about how when you moved into using the van, you sold your house, you sold your possessions,
Mm,
you've really, focused down on what you really need
mm, yeah.
day to day. So how does gifting fit in with all of that? Because gifting is, we are prolific gift givers here,
Yeah.
okay, and we're prolific gifters of things, but
Yeah.
that does not fit with what you're doing at the moment, does it? So how do you manage gifts
Yes.
in this way?
So when we downsized, I found um some habits that weren't very eco-friendly. I was a hoarder. I would buy stuff. Oh, that's lovely. I'll buy that. And I had a stock of gifts just in case I
Mhm,
needed to give
mhm.
some something. And moving into the motorhome, there's no room. There's no room for things that you don't need on a daily basis.
No.
There's just no storage. I've got two cupboards, three cupboards for my clothes. They're tiny lockers. That's it, right? So I had to live with what was going to serve me with the life I now chosen to. So I've got my nanny's teapot. That teapot is older than I am. It's things that who things that I need. I love loose tea, so that was great. But giving gifts now, I don't have that stock of stuff just in case that might be useful. Whether that person needs or wants it, I'm going to buy it. I don't have that anymore. So if I want to give a gift to someone, it's really forced me to make that gift more personal.
Hmm.
So I might make that gift. I love crocheting. So I made my mum and dad a huge crocheted blanket for their sofa. Um, or I might buy something that I know somebody really, really needs,
Yeah,
because they might have been mentioning it. Or I know that they really love a hobby or something. So either it's something that I've made and is really personal, or I know that they really, really need it. Um, I don't give gifts now that are plastic, um, plastic tat. I don't do that anymore.
yeah,
So it's made me think about what I'm gifting.
yeah,
Yeah, and I don't over gift. You
yeah,
know, the numbers and the people now have shrunk. Secret Santa at Christmas just like really yeah, it really makes me anxious now. So I'm not in a workplace now that the Secret Santa plastic. But when I was, I encouraged everybody to have that fiver and go to a charity shop
yeah,
and
yeah,
spend the fiver in the charity shop, um, so that actually a local charity would be benefiting, and then we could see, well, what unusual things can we come up with.
yeah. How did
Yeah,
that go down with your colleagues? Because I am really interested in this idea of pre-loved gifts, and it isn't something that I've managed to do because I've got to bring other people along the journey with me, and I'm still
yeah.
working on that. But that's a really good example, the work Secret Santa. So how did you approach it, and how did it go down?
I just suggested it. Some people really, really loved it. Um, and then, yeah, and then we just made it work, because you can find new things in a charity shop.
Yeah,
Because quite often people will regift what
yeah,
they don't want to a charity shop. So
yeah,
I think it worked both ways. Yeah, it was a win-win.
yeah,
And it kind of, oh, my shopping anxiety, it kind of took that. And then the charity was the winner then,
yeah.
not some plastic tat from the supermarket. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that is the we are, like I said, we are prolific gift givers. We want to be giving and sharing things with other people and
Yeah.
showing them that we care. But it's really interesting to get a different perspective on how you do that and how you can still show that you care,
Yeah.
but without, without adding to the extra waste and giving things that people don't necessarily want. I think mindful giving is
Yeah.
the point, isn't it, really? It's
Yeah.
about really, really thinking carefully about what it is you're giving and why you're giving it. I'm a big fan of giving experience gifts. I've
Mm.
talked about it quite a few episodes actually. Is that something
Yeah.
that you would do?
I often gift a meal out um,
Yeah.
to friends and family. I think that works for me because I like eating. I'm not I'm not I'm not one into these thrill-seeking experiences.
Yeah.
You won't find me jumping out of an aeroplane or um but yeah, but a meal out together.
Yeah.
Um yeah, no, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, that is nice. I think you're right. I think I sometimes give friends coffee and cake and
Yeah.
with me. I mean,
Yes.
what more could you want? But I think we do lots of us appreciate time spent together as opposed to more things.
Yeah.
Um and I think that is a way that we can be greener as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, so do you do much wrapping? Because you are obviously giving less physical gifts by the
Yeah.
sounds of it. So how do you go about the wrapping?
Right. I often get a scarf from a charity shop, a nice chiffon scarf, and I will do some sort of Japanese knots on it and wrap it up, or I'm back to the old brown paper. I
Okay.
just love brown paper, and then decorate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big brown paper fan.
Yeah. I mean, I think lots of people are. We're going back to days of old where we that's what we had. We had brown paper.
Yeah, a
Um,
nice bit of string.
yeah, and you can actually make gifts that really, really unique. Brown paper doesn't have to be boring. There are loads of ways that you can decorate it. Yeah, you said you decorate it. What kind of things do you do?
I would get some holly and ivy and do that especially for Christmas gifts. Um I'm not great on the old artistic um decoration, so I would just leave it as plain as possible. I don't colour it. I put my string on it, and yeah,
That sounds
there
lovely.
we go. And I just love watching people pulling the string and opening the parcel.
Yeah, and having that special moment. I think I love the idea of using like the natural elements in what you're doing and decorating it
Yeah,
with what you come across. That
yeah.
sounds amazing.
Or I'll make a gift bag, because
Okay.
I think that's a really good way of getting unusual shaped presents
Yeah.
and covering them up.
Yeah.
I do like a gift bag, and if the brown paper is firm enough,
Mhm.
sturdy enough, the gift bag you can make, you know, doesn't have to be expensive.
No, no, absolutely not. So you obviously don't have a lot of room to store things, but
Mhm.
would you try and store like wrapping paper and things for reusing? Do you ever reuse things?
I do have a drawer of doom of
Even in a motorhome, there's a drawer of
Well,
food.
well, it has to double up with other things, but I do if the packaging is nice enough, then I have been known to keep it and wrap something else with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's really I think it's really fascinating. I've been on a bit of a decluttering journey over the years. I'm still on the journey, by the way. Because with children, you just accumulate things.
Mm,
Things just appear in your house. I don't know where they come from. And I've been through a process as they've got older of decluttering. And you do fill up the space that you've got. So if you've got less space, you know, you manage that, don't you? I mean, I've
yeah,
got space in my little workroom to keep lots of things that I can reuse, but even I've got a limit to my, when my box gets full, I do have
yeah,
to eventually clear things
yeah.
out. Um,
But yeah, because it's kind of remembering what you've got as well. And if you've got too much, you just won't get through it all, will you? And so yeah, I think living in the motorhome, it's made me just really think about what I'm bringing in and what I'm keeping.
yes,
Because I don't, apart from the odd little bits of wrapping, I don't keep things now because they might come in useful.
yeah,
It's got to suit the life that I've got now.
yes.
Um,
Wow,
um,
maybe that's what I think all of us could take a leaf out of that book and not keep things just in case. They're just in case.
just in
Yeah.
just in case, no. Because unless it serves the life you've got now, it just adds to the stress of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, if you do want it in the future, you can go back and get it. There'll be marketplace, there'll be loads of ways of getting it. Unless it just really, really means something to you, like Granny's teapot. That,
Yeah.
I won't be getting rid of that.
No.
Um, Even if for some unheard reason I stopped drinking tea, you know, that's
Yeah.
not going to happen, folks. Um, you know, I won't be getting rid of that. So that I do understand that there are things like that that just mean something. Um, and it's not about having a sterile environment. It's having things that serve the life that you live now. And when I had children, we had 6 children at home.
Yeah.
Life was very different.
Yeah.
And what served me then doesn't serve me now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really inspiring to hear the changes that you've made and the journey that you've been on. Yeah, really inspiring. I always think of you when I'm trying to make changes. Because I mean, I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm going to be getting a motorhome yet, but I think it is really interesting just hearing how these changes have built up to be.
Yeah.
Um, but on people who are living this kind of life that I'm kind of like aspiring to try and make these changes. So yeah, I think it's great.
I think I don't try and be perfect because I don't believe that that is sustainable for me and my personality and how I live. So I just try and do the best that I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
at that moment.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think that's all that we can do. We do the best that we can in starting where we are, and I think that's a really important
yeah.
message. Yeah.
Progress over perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I'm definitely an advocate of that. Definitely. Well, Lizzie, it's been amazing talking to you and hearing more about it. And I think it's going to be it's just such a different perspective on things as well. I know that people are going to really enjoy listening to our chat. So if people
I
want
hope
to
so.
find out more about what you're doing and how you're living,
Yeah.
where's the best place to come and find you?
If you like digital, then I hang out on Facebook. So I've got a group, Love Our Planet with Lizzie. I do dabble a bit in Instagram, but my photography's not that great. And the kids go, oh my gosh, another blurred photograph. So I don't hang out too much on Instagram. But if Facebook's your thing, come and connect with me. Um, and or by email. Um, That's great too.
Great. Well, we'll pop all of those links in the show notes so that people can come and find you. But yeah, go and see what Lizzie's doing on Facebook and join her community. It's full of lots of different ideas about how you can start making small changes. So yeah, go and check it out. So yeah, thanks very much for coming to chat with us today, Lizzie. Thank you for listening to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. For free resources, head to giftwrapedbyeve.com/freebies and follow Eve on socials at giftwrapedbyeve on Instagram and Facebook.